Hey guys, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has been on my mind non-stop since that trailer dropped a few days ago. This was the part of the game that I was the most looking forward to seeing remade. As awesome as Midgar is, it pales in comparison to what comes after. So yeah, for this video, let's take a look at some of the information that's been released. So first things first, we got the release date of February 29th, which is just a little bit over 5 months away, so, save the date. Now, the length of the game is estimated at nearly 100 hours, but I think that is an estimate to do everything, because in the same statement, Hamaguchi said, with compelling stories, fun minigames, powerful monsters, and so much more to find throughout the world map, seems to suggest to do everything, right? Anyway, so now let's head over to an interview on PlayStation Blog and go over what we learned from there. Combat. So when it comes to the combat, Hamaguchi gave us some information on the synergy attacks, which was something that we saw a lot of in the previous trailer, but this has been something I've been looking forward to ever since the Yuffie DLC teased it. So the way they're going to work is, you have a separate gauge that fills up, and then they are used kind of like limit breaks. These combo attacks not only look cool, but they also give you that sense of your party getting closer and learning to fight better together. We also learned that they are adding skill trees as a new way to develop characters, and that this will be a way to unlock even more synergy attacks. And of course, there will be many new materia to find with new abilities to use. So yeah, there are a lot of fun looking RPG elements here, and I really look forward to figuring out all the fun ways to customize and build my characters. Speaking of characters. So we learned more about Red 13's gameplay, and besides ATB, he also has a revenge gauge as a mechanic, which fills up as he guards enemies' attacks. So he's going to be a character where you want to strike a balance between offense and defense. We also saw some of Kate's sets, or Ketchi. The thing I'm actually looking the most forward to is hearing the official pronunciation of this cat's name. Anyways, pronunciation aside, the gameplay that they showed off looks so good. We also learned that all the original party members are going to be present in Rebirth, but some of them will only accompany you, kind of like how Red 13 did in the remake. Okay, so next up, let's take a look at the summons. In the trailer, they showed off Alexander and Odin, and we also learned a little bit of information from the interview. For one, they mentioned that some of the summons from Remake will show up, but I guess not all of them for some reason. They also mentioned that there will be a long side quest that is centered around a brand new summon that was not in the original, so I think that sounds pretty cool. Now, nothing was mentioned about how the summon mechanics will work in Rebirth, but I kind of hope that they are looking to change that up. Make it a little bit less random. So anyways, next up, let's take a look at everybody's favorite pastime, minigames. So anyone who's played the original Final Fantasy VII knows that game had a ton of minigames, and not just at the Gold Saucer. Even out in the world, you had things like CPR, a slapping contest, and of course, the Junon Parade. So that last one was actually mentioned in the interview specifically, and they said the scope was greatly increased. Cloud is now the leader of the unit, not just a grunt marching along, and you get to customize the unit, which affects your performance. Now, as I mentioned earlier, whenever you think minigames, you probably think the Gold Saucer. This is one of the most memorable locations in all of Final Fantasy VII, and they said that they have gone all out with the minigames in Rebirth, and that there are even more than in the original. From the tiny bit that we saw in the trailer, I think that they look fantastic. The Chocobo racing in particular looks really good. We also learned that you can unlock harder difficulty modes, and that more minigames would unlock as the story progresses. So the last thing pertaining to the Gold Saucer is the dating scenes are happening. That seemed like a foregone conclusion, but I guess it's nice that they put any questions about it to rest. So next up, let's take a look at the world. So we have only seen a very small segment of the world, but I'm loving what they've shown us so far. It's almost like the artist went directly into my mind and pulled out how I imagined the world would look. So in the interview, they said that the world is going to be expansive, and I think what put that directly into focus is when we see Cloud on a flying chocobo. The area surrounding him is huge. And speaking of chocobos, something else they mentioned was that every region would have their own unique chocobos, such as those that can fly, climb mountains, and so forth. Now, what's really cool about this is to fully explore all the different regions, you need to take advantage of those abilities, and I just think that's going to make exploration so much fun. They also mentioned that not all the locations are going to be used for the main story, and volume-wise, the side content is nearly double that of the main story. So, a surprise that we learned from the interview is that the order of events won't be the same. In the trailer, it kind of looked like it was going surprisingly far into the story, but if the events are unfolding in a different way, well, then that kind of makes sense. They also confirmed that the endpoint for Rebirth will be the Forgotten Capital, which, to me, is a very Star Wars Empire Strikes Back place to end it. The producer of the game also alluded to this moment in a post where he said, "The story will unfold more dramatically than ever before, with a rapid pace of major twists and turns. We know fans are dying to see one scene in particular." So there has been a lot of speculation around this big scene. Would it play out the same? How are they going to change it up? And I feel like that statement all but confirms that it will be the same. So lastly, let's talk about Sephiroth. We learned in the interview that he's going to be a playable character in the flashback. This actually kind of surprised me. I fully expected he'd be an uncontrollable guest character. So what this indicates to me is that the flashback sequence will be much longer and more fleshed out. Otherwise, why go through the effort of making Sephiroth playable? It even looks like Cloud and Sephiroth have a synergy attack together, and also, they are fighting a boss that they didn't fight before. So yeah, I am super excited for this one. It looks fantastic. I thought that they did an amazing job with Remake, but Rebirth is looking to up the ante in every single conceivable way. February 29th cannot get here soon enough. And that's all for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all having a great day. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye!